Hello, Kennet Valley School. So, my name's Dr. Ben Neuman, and I work here in Texas at a place called Texas A&M University, Texarkana. Now, let's see, Miss Norman sent me some questions that you guys came up with, and I was going to answer them today. So, let's look at these. And they're really good questions, actually. A lot of this is the same sort of stuff that older people either are asking or should be asking. So, all right. The first one are from the EYFS, and this is 4 years of age. And so it says, do germs come out of your body? So the answer is yes and no. They do come out of your body, but only if they go into your body first. So we have a lot of things inside of us, like down inside of our guts, that you could call germs sometimes, but really they're just part of your body. Something like a coronavirus isn't part of your body, but when it makes you sick, when somebody would catch a virus like this, then yes, it can come out, and that's how it spreads from person to person. But the nice thing is that if you're not around anyone who has the virus, there's no way that you can get it. And so, yeah, as long as you're not by somebody's body when they're coming out, it's all good. All right, next question. Why do you have to wash your hands with soap? Well, one, that's a good way to get the dirt off. But two, the virus actually is made, and it's sort of like a little soap bubble itself. It has a thing called an envelope around the outside. And the neat thing is, if you pop that virus, then it can't hurt you at all. And so that's why we're using soap. It goes in there and it pops open the virus, and then it doesn't matter how much virus there is, you're totally safe from it. So, yeah, soap works really well. It actually even works better than hand sanitizer. But hand sanitizer sometimes smells nicer. I like some of those flavors. So, yeah, good question. What could we do to stop bad germs getting into our bodies? So, I know a lot of people are worried about this. A lot of people have been talking to me about it. But in general, you're probably going to be okay. The only way a bad germ is going to get into your bodies is if you spend a lot of time with a person who is already sick from this virus. And so that would almost have to be somebody in your family. And I'm assuming your families are okay right now, which is a good thing. So, for the most part, if you wash your hands, that's going to be the best way to keep those germs from getting into your body. The germs can't actually jump in. You would have to sort of pick them up off the ground and put them in by sort of getting the germs on there and then touching your eyes or your nose or your mouth, something like that. And as long as you don't do that, it's actually okay. There's no way for the virus to jump into you. So it's not going to get you, yeah, and you can definitely stop it and stay safe. Okay, from year one and two, how did the virus get here and why is there coronavirus? Man, those are big questions. So I can tell you what we know so far. We don't have all the answers yet. Scientists are still working on this, actually, around the world. So we think this virus started out as a virus from bats. And we think that because we found lots of the brothers and sisters of this virus effectively. And they're all viruses and they were all found in bats somewhere over in China. So bats get sick too. I mean, we don't think about it and they don't go to hospitals, but yeah, they get sick just like you and me. They get colds and flus. And for them, the new coronavirus is probably just one of their normal colds. We think it probably doesn't even hurt them particularly much. And honestly, it's fine. It belongs with them. It's only when it comes over to other kinds of animals, then it can be a little bit more of a problem. So we think it went from bats to pangolins, and pangolins are amazing looking creatures. Maybe Miss Norman can pull a picture of one of those up. I think they're absolutely adorable. But we have some viruses from pangolins because they get sick too. Everything gets sick, yeah. Even plants get sick. But there are all these things in the world, and they're things that have been around you your entire life. You've been walking through a world that has lots of kinds of germs in it, and you're actually okay because you have an immune system. Your immune system is there and it keeps you safe from all of this stuff. And immune systems even work against coronavirus. They do a really nice job. So yeah, that's a great question. Um, and so why is there coronavirus and why is it spreading around? I think those are both kind of the same question. So this coronavirus belongs to a great big group of viruses. We probably know. Let's see. I'm on the committee that names these viruses, and I'm not even sure I could count all the coronaviruses very easily. It'd be somewhere in the hundreds, I think, if you counted all the strains. And they're just little things that live in the world like us. They have their own sort of life. They will go into another kind of cell, like a cell from our bodies, or a plant, or a bat, or something like that. And that's where they like to grow. And so you go home to your house at night, and they go home to a cell at night in somebody's body. That's just a different way to live. And I really wish they'd stop doing it, but, at the same time, that's just biology. That's how life works. So, why is it spreading around? Yes, the virus is spreading around, going from one person to another. So the virus will get into a person, and maybe just a couple of little viruses will get in, and then all the virus does, the only thing it can do is make more copies of itself. And so it makes more copies, and eventually, if that person who has the virus sneezes, then it can go to another person. But the really cool thing is, if that person who has the virus stays away from other people or is in a hospital where they can take care of them, then nobody else is going to get the virus, and so it doesn't spread around. And so the reason we know this is that in China, there have been, I think, almost 80,000 people who have got the virus there, really a lot. And they used to have a really big problem. But about a month ago, they started keeping people inside their houses for the most part so that they couldn't mix around and spread the virus. And it worked. The last report I saw, there were fewer than 20 new cases in China. And so this shows us basically what we can do and basically that it'll be okay. Coronavirus is not forever, this is only for now. And when we get rid of this virus, it's not going to come back. We should be coronavirus free for the rest of our lives. And you can tell everybody when you get nice and old about the weird time you had when coronavirus came around. Okay, now from years 3 and 4. So which do you think will be the last country to be affected by coronavirus? Oh, yeah, wow. That's a tough one. So coronavirus is moving around and it tends to go with people. People who don't realize that they're already sick um, will have the virus and then they'll get on an airplane, they'll go somewhere else, and then all of a sudden they'll realize they're sick, but then they'll spread it to a couple other people. And so then we have to find those and catch them and just say, all right, let's keep you in the hospital for a while, you'll be okay, and then we'll make sure nobody else gets sick. The last country, if I had to guess, would be Antarctica. And it's not even really a country, it's just a place where people kind of live a little bit occasionally. I think there are very few people there, and they are the people who have the least contact with the outside world. I think everybody else has airports. But it doesn't really matter who you are or where you're from, the virus really doesn't care what country it's in. Because as far as the virus is concerned, it's inside of a person. That's its favorite, happiest place to be. And yeah, it could be anybody, anywhere. And so that's why we all need to be careful and wash our hands and make sure that we report any illnesses. And yeah, we can stop this little thing because the virus doesn't have a brain. It can't think its way through a problem. And so we do have brains and we can use them and we can beat it. Yeah. All right, next question. Where did the name coronavirus come from? I like this question. So one of my favorite things is looking at viruses, so if you go look at something big, like you want to look at your hand or your fingerprint, you can use a regular microscope. But to look at viruses, you have to use an electron microscope, and I've done a lot of that, and I really like it. It's a giant machine. It fills an entire room, and it uses electricity to actually make a picture of a virus. It's really cool. And so anyway, when you take a picture of one of these viruses with electricity, an electron microscope, you'll find that it has these big, long proteins on the outside, and it's called the spike protein. And they're a little longer and I would say more beautiful, maybe more elegant than the proteins you get on other viruses. Every virus has something like this, but usually they're kind of stubby and, boring. But for coronavirus, very nice spike proteins. So I just found this out this week. The American Sign Language word for coronavirus actually involves the spike proteins. So it goes something like this. First, you make a fist, and then you put the corona on. So there you go. Yeah, coronavirus. And you can also spell it out, I think. But it's a fun thing you can take home and show your parents that you learned. Okay, from years 5 and 6, let's go. So let's see, if you're already ill with something like cancer, will coronavirus make it worse? Yes, we think so. And so it's especially important to keep people who are already in the hospital or people who are in a care home or a nursing home, something like that. It's really important to keep them safe. And we can keep them safe by making sure that we don't catch the virus and then go visit them. So as long as you're safe, they're going to be safe. And that's the best way to do it. But yes, coronavirus is like a little bully. It beats up on people who are kind of weak and old and frail already. Yeah, it's a rotten little thing, really. So, good question. How long do I predict this epidemic or pandemic? Yeah, it's a pandemic as of today, will last. The answer is I think it'll last about 2.5 months after the virus peaks. So, what I mean by that is at the start of the COVID 19 outbreak, we had a problem in one country, which was China. And so the number of cases went up, 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 up. And this is the number of cases every day, like just one day's cases went up, 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 up. And then they did a thing called quarantine, where they had everybody stay in their houses and they stopped having big get togethers, big groups of people. And then the virus came down, 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 like that. And so from the point where you're at the top until the end of that thing, when the last person is finally well from coronavirus, seems to be about 2.5 months. So China are already about a month or a month and a half along. They're going to be virus free probably before the rest of us because they had the virus first and they've been dealing with it first. I think each country is going to have its own little peak. And so you can watch these numbers. The World Health Organization, if you ask your parents to Google it, it has these things called situation reports, and you can get a nice update on what's going on today and how many cases there are, and where it's spreading, and more importantly, where the virus is stopping spreading. So I think if you take the total world, like outside of China, right now, and look at the graph, it's doing just about like this. So it looks like we're getting toward where the top is going to be, maybe only a couple days away. I really hope so. I think the quarantine in Italy, where they're having people stay in their houses, that's going to help a lot because most of the coronavirus in the rest of Europe was coming from northern Italy. And once that is stopped, it'll be much easier to stop in every other country. I think where we need to get it under control, frankly, is in America. We have a problem and it's still growing here. And people are just going to have to do the same things that they've done in Italy and the same things they've done in China. It's, just keep people away from other people for a little while and the virus just disappears. Almost like magic. Yeah, it's really cool, actually. All right. When are we likely to find a cure? Ooh, that's another good question. So I've done a lot of work. I've grown the original SARS coronavirus. I think I have made more of this virus than any other living person. But yeah, you know what? If somebody wants that record, they can have it. Yeah. And so I've worked on trying to find things that will stop the virus. Since this new virus, the one that causes COVID 19, it's actually just a different version of the old SARS coronavirus, which came out way before you were born, 2002. Ask your parents about it, they'll dimly remember it. But we've had 18 years of people working on this virus, and there are thousands of things that seem to work against SARS virus. And so right now, people around the world are trying out all kinds of cures and all kinds of vaccines. And it's just a matter of going through all these thousands of possibilities. Yeah, we have so many things to try. And it's a matter of figuring out which ones to test. And they are starting the tests right now on several of those. They're enrolling people, and I expect those will start within the next week, if not sooner. So yeah, that's great news. Once the tests are rolling, those will be protecting potentially some people who are involved in the test. And then I bet they will stop the tests after about a month, and they will check and see if each one of these things they're testing is doing something good. If it's doing something good, then at that point, I would expect they would try to roll it out to more people and make it more available. So yeah, maybe within a month or two, right toward when I expect the end of this outbreak to happen, I think we'll actually have something, and that's a good plan because I think there'll be more viruses like this coronavirus coming up in the future. And the nice thing is, we can stop every one of these with a single person. It doesn't really have to spread. One, if we keep our eyes, sort of focused and pay attention. And two, if we have some drugs and some vaccines to help for next time. So, yeah, scientists are working on this. We're just really slow because we have to be right. We have to make sure we get it right. And that's very hard when you're dealing with the unknown. All right, so great question. Another great question. If you recover from coronavirus, can you catch it again? So far, nobody has caught SARS twice, and nobody has caught the new coronavirus, the COVID-19 virus, twice. So we think if you get it once and you get over it, you are probably going to be immune for life. I guess the other nice thing is that so far, people from old to young have caught the virus. But all the people under 10 who have caught the virus have actually got better, and it's usually very mild in those people. They often don't even have symptoms. Still, though, you want to keep yourself safe because if you go over and visit older people, then you don't want to be able to you don't want to give them the virus. So that's why we still want to do good hand washing and make sure everybody is safe that way. How much help is wearing a face mask in protecting yourself or catching the virus? All right. So, for people who are actually going to be working in a hospital and know they're going to deal with a person who has the virus, those people, one, have to be brave, and that's good. I'm glad we have brave people in the world who are doing that. But also, they have special equipment, and the special equipment is a lot more than those little masks. So, the little face masks can work a little bit. We know of at least one case way back in 2003 where someone got infected with SARS even though they were wearing a mask. We think it didn't fit very well, and they might have been sort of breathing through the side of it. But they can probably help a little bit. Now, the reason why they're asking people not to buy too many masks is so that the people in the hospitals who are definitely dealing with the virus and keeping everyone safe, we want them to have enough masks that they can definitely be safe. And then after all those guys have masks, yeah, sure. If you have a mask, fine. Wear it. It definitely doesn't hurt. But I don't think you need it, and I am not wearing a mask. I don't think I will be wearing a mask at all during this outbreak. Do I think closing a school would be a good idea to stop the spread? This is something that people are talking about right now and actually doing. So, a lot of universities in the United States are switching to just sort of online school, like doing school through a computer. We know in terms of how the school works, that's not great. People don't seem to learn quite as well from a computer as they do in an actual school. Um, so, uh, yes, it potentially can stop the spread, but at the same time, I think each school and each place is going to make that decision. And so they're going to try and balance. They want to definitely make sure they keep everybody safe, but they also want to do a really good job of teaching. And so I think they're going to look at this over the time. And you know what? It may come time where you have to do school through your parents' mobile phone for a couple days. And if that keeps everybody safe, that'll be all right. But I think for right now, it's okay. You can still go to school. And I'm here in my office at school. Yeah, and I think it's just fine. So I think there's a lot of interesting science behind this virus. And we're going to be learning more and more about it. There's so many proteins the virus makes, and each one of those proteins is like a little machine. And when you understand how it works, you kind of understand the virus, and you also understand a little bit about how to stop the virus. And I think the more you can read about it, sort of from science journals, the better. But I think at the same time, I don't want you to worry about this. I'm not particularly worried about the coronavirus. It's out there, but it is very, very stoppable. This virus can't jump, it can't fly through the air, it's not a superhero. And there's no way that this virus can get you unless you actually pick it up and put it in your mouth. And I don't know about you, but I'm not going to do that. Or I'm going to try my best anyway. So, yeah, watch the world. We're living in an interesting time, but it's probably going to be okay in the end. Because remember, as bad as it seems right here, it only seems bad because the virus is a little closer to us. And the problem was much worse in China back in January. And they did the same things that we're doing, and those same things worked, and they're going to work again. Yeah, we can stop any virus that's out there. Science is just getting really good at that. So, yeah, I think that's the big take home message that it's probably going to be all right. Yeah, just have to stay calm and carry on. There you go. So I hope this was helpful, and I don't know if you need me to do anything more in the future, or if you have any more questions for me. I'm here. Your teachers know how to get hold of me. Yeah. Thank you very much, and go out there, stay safe, and have a good time. It's very nice to meet all of you. Bye bye.